Hi, my name is Joanie Thames, and I go to what used to be called New Heights, but is now the CLC Contemporary Service. I was asked by Ryan to talk to you today, and I want to talk about hearing God's voice. Anyone can hear God's voice. Anyone can feel God's presence. We just need to open up our hearts and minds to accept it. I call these times God-stop moments, and I've had many over the years. That's not to say that I always hear God's voice or I don't question it, but I know that He's with me. From a very little girl, I've felt close to Jesus and I've loved Him with all my heart. And I've backslid, that's true. But even during those times, I knew that I only had to turn back to Jesus. And I knew that He was always with me. I've been debating, since Ryan asked if I'd be willing to go on this podcast, what story I would actually tell. I have a journal in which I write down my God-stop moments. And some moments are very short and sweet, and others require a mystic faith. And I just like to give you the definition of mystic: a person who seeks by contemplative and self-surrender to obtain unity with or absorption into the deity or the absolute, or who believes in the spiritual apprehensions of truth that are beyond the intellect. And that's exactly what my story is. The moment that I want to share happened in January of 2012. I was in the backyard raking leaves. I had my iPod on, and I was singing worship songs at the top of my lungs. I was raising my hands and worshiping, and tears were pouring down my face, and I was praying to be sozo, which is a Greek word which means healed, saved, delivered, redeemed. Suddenly, 3 things happened almost simultaneously. Instantly, I felt this amazing peace just rush over me, like every cell in my body felt complete, felt whole, felt at rest. And it just literally took my breath away. It was all encompassing. The second thing that I felt was I felt myself flung forward on my hands and knees. And the next thing was there was this blinding light behind my eyes, unlike anything that's ever happened. So the peace, I'm on the floor with my head bowed, and this light that just penetrated every corpuscle. And it was overwhelming. It was a peace I'd never felt. It was overwhelming love. It was joy. It was the most amazing thing that I have ever experienced in my life. And then I got scared, and my mind retracted from the moment, and I was suddenly back in my backyard. My tears had stopped flowing, the rake was on the ground, and my cat Molly was sitting there staring at me like, "What the hell happened to you?" And it's a look that I'll never forget. Over 18 months later in the quarry, and I think y'all have heard about the quarry. It was a class that we took here with our former pastor, David McNinsky, and Scott Hare. And I was talking with Scott about this incident, or this experience, I should say. And he said, "Joanie, don't you know what happened?" And I'm like, "Yes, first there was this peace, then I was on the floor, then there was the light." And he said, "Joanie, you were invited into the throne room." This actually blew my mind, partly because it's what I actually thought had happened, but his confirmation of it helped me to truly believe that that's exactly what happened. And additionally, because I was in the throne room. I actually haven't shared this story with many people. Not everyone is a mystic, and a lot of times anything revolving the supernatural is doubted, but I'm okay with that. It's taken a long time, but everybody has their own journey and their own way of hearing from God, and that's okay. That's the way it should be. But my biggest takeaway from the encounter is questioning, and it's not whether it happened, but it's what would have happened if I hadn't been so scared. I have no idea how long I was there. I couldn't tell you if it was seconds or minutes, but I really wonder what would have happened if I hadn't gotten scared and reality had not come back rushing in the way it did. I wrote in my journal at the time, "I'm not sure how long the gift lasted, but oh, what a sweet gift of peace it was." And I still feel this way. Whenever I think about this, I remember it is an amazing gift that I was given. And I'm so grateful for a God who lovingly, willingly, softly, and sweetly invites us in. And yes, even into the throne room. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Stories from the Seats. Don't forget to follow or subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss a single episode. If you have a story that you think would be great on the podcast, email us at podcasts@ahumc.org. That's podcasts@ahumc.org. To learn more about who we are, visit our website ahumc.org anytime. Any related links are also in this episode's show notes. Again, thank you so much for being a listener. We truly appreciate your time.